Today's video is going to be on the topic of kids and why I don't particularly want them. Now, people usually assume that if you say you don't want kids, that you probably hate them, right? Um, that's never been true for me. Like that's not a true statement. You know, when people that I've worked with, been friends with, whatever, talked about wanting kids and like that desire, I don't understand what that like actually feels like. I don't really understand that drive or that desire. All the people in my life who wanted to be parents, they talked about wanting to teach their kids things. They wanted to watch them grow up and all that sort of stuff, right? And I listened and I tried to relate to them, but I honestly couldn't. I mean, I'm happy for them now. Like they seem like they're happy, the ones that lasted, marriage wise and stuff. Don't get me wrong. Like I understand the reason for why they feel they need to do it, why they feel that drive. I see the results of it, but I don't feel it myself. I've always looked at parenthood as just like another major life choice rather than something that like everyone has to do or naturally just does. Um, you know, Maybe it's a product of the times we're in, but you have access to make that choice much more than you ever did in the past. And people are choosing not to do that. And honestly, I'm one of them. And I guess I do have reasons I can elaborate on. With parenthood, you get to reap rewards that people, who don't have kids will never experience, right? You get certain things. It has its positives and its negatives. But when I picture my future, I just don't see kids. And there's two big reasons for that. The first is that I like my freedom. I like my time. I like to be able to do whatever I want when I want to do it, right? Having a kid's a massive responsibility. It's a lot of commitment. It's not a basket of laundry or mowing the lawn that you can just say, "Yeah, I'm done. I'm going to pass on the rest of this for the rest of the day." No, you have to show up consistently and give your best self, even when you can barely show up for you. And I don't really think this is a flaw when we're talking about kids either, like thinking this carefully about it and making it a big decision. You know, Being a parent isn't something that you can halfway do. You don't get to come home from work and say, "Man, I've had a pretty shit day. I'll be a good parent tomorrow." Like, you can't do that. I mean, you can, but that's not a good thing to do, right? That's not what a good parent does. A kid needs you every single day. And everything you do shapes them. Everything. But if I'm like being completely honest, like the freedom thing isn't really like my biggest reason why I'm against kids. My biggest reason is that I simply just don't trust myself to do better than my parents when they raised me. I didn't have a good childhood, and it took years of therapy before I could even begin to understand like how much it's affected me. And I worry that I'm just gonna pass that trauma on without even realizing it. I mean, I don't think my parents set out to hurt me intentionally. I don't think they woke up and were like, "Yeah, I'm going to get pregnant, I'm going to have a kid, and I'm just going to mess its life up," right? That's not a thing. I mean, I'm sure it is, but that's not the case here for me. But I think that they just repeated the things and examples that they were given as a kid. They were treated a certain way. They were talked to a certain way. They reproduced that when they had their own kid. I have the opportunity to end that cycle right now. I know what bad parenting can do because I lived it and I still live it. That's the idea. That's why the idea of being a parent scares me like more than it excites me, right? Um, you know, when people hear all of this stuff, they think that like I'm thinking no one should have kids or that like I hate parents or something or I hate the kids. And that's not true. Do I like hearing kids cry and scream and throw tantrums? No, but parents don't even like that. You know what I mean? It's just a fact of having a kid. You're just going to have to deal with it, right? But I don't hate kids. Um, I think it's a good thing. You know, when some people genuinely want to be parents, they're prepared for it financially, emotionally, all that stuff. When they want to be parents when they're prepared for it and they raise their kids well. It's great. It's a wonderful thing. I think it's wonderful when a good person becomes a parent and raises great children. I just think that bringing a kid into the world is like a huge responsibility. And it's one of the biggest I'm ever going to have. And I'm in my early 30s now, and I don't think that's going to change. I think this is just going to be who I am. I felt this way since I was 18, and I still feel the same way. And it's been a decade more. You know, I if I can't honestly say that that's something I need to do and want to do in my life, and I can't say to myself, I know I'm going to be a good father, I don't think I should do it. It's not a cat. It's not a dog. It's not something small that you can say, hey, I've tried to do good with this one, but something's wrong, with their behavior or whatever. You can't take the kid back. I mean, you can take it. Obviously, you can to a degree, but you can't. You know what I mean? It's frowned upon at a minimum. Um, if I can't say that I would be a good father and that I knew I would be great at it, I think it's responsible for me to choose not to have one. Unless I'm 100% in it to win it, I don't think I should do it. And, at the end of the day, I would rather regret not having kids than have a kid regret having me as a father.